Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trending, a show about all of the diverse things happening right here in the city of West Hollywood. Today, we're talking about water, specifically the lack of water. We all know that we can no longer take water for granted in the state of California. Our state is dealing with a serious drought, a big-time water shortage, and it is impacting everyone. Here in West Hollywood, the city has conservation measures in place, rules and regulations that the residents have to follow, but it can be a little bit confusing. When can you water your lawn? What days? By how much are you supposed to cut back? And what are the fines for breaking the rules? It's important information that everyone should know. And today on Trending, we're going to sort it all out for you. We're going to help you be part of the solution. Joining me today on Trending, Jeff Aubel, who is the manager of code compliance here in West Hollywood. I know we're going to get lots of answers from you. And also Scott Smith, who is the City of West Hollywood's Urban Forest and Landscape Maintenance Supervisor. And no doubt your job has been extremely tough trying to keep the city looking beautiful, yet at the same time not using too much water. I want to thank you both for joining me here today on Trending.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, Jeff, I want to start with you. You know, pretty much every city in California, but here in Southern California, we depend on outside sources for our water. Where does the City of West Hollywood get its water?
West Hollywood has two water providers. On the east side of the city, it's provided by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. And on the west side of the city, it's Beverly Hills Water. It's approximately divided at La Cienega Boulevard East and La Cienega West.
So depending on what side of that street you live on is who
That's
your
correct.
water provider is.
Correct.
Sure. All right. So we know the state is dealing with a drought. Everyone is affected. But as someone who's involved in this big issue, how bad really is it? I mean, one day are we going to turn our faucets on and nothing is going to come out?
Well, there's a lot of estimates that I've read that we have about a year of water left, and some other ones that I've read that say it could be longer. However, it's a crisis right now, and I'm not a psychic, but yeah, it's a probability that someday there will be no water left, and let's hope that between conserving water and hopefully a lot of rain, we can get through this in time.
Yeah, we definitely need the rain. Right. So what is the City of West Hollywood? You talk about conserving. What are they doing in the city to do their share?
Well, I'm getting away with whatever he'll allow me to get away with, basically.
That's
no,
right.
The city's done a good job. I think we got ahead of this even before the major water conservation push. We put things in place. We just recently we've added 3 more smart controllers to our already existing 5, so that brings us up to 8. And these controllers really help as far as irrigation goes. They control flow. It's centrally controlled. So at my computer, at my staff, we have a computer that we can monitor, and we can fix things, the day after it happens or during.
You're talking about irrigation system, sprinkler system, and because it's computerized, if a sprinkler breaks, it's not going to be running for 3 days before you get to it.
Right, it'll shut down due to a high flow. It learns stuff. It learns it senses the flow. Also, mainline breaks with that, where we lose the majority of the water. When a mainline breaks, it knows to shut it down.
Even the mains.
Yeah, because they're all basically the system doesn't get energized without a master valve which controls everything.
Got it.
So, the individual valves can shut down if the flows are too high, and then it'll just go to the next valve that needs the water. But if a main line breaks, then what ends up happening is it shuts the whole system down, and you don't lose water.
Yeah.
Which is key.
Yeah.
Is key, especially when these smart controllers keep your crop or whatever you're watering, whether it be plant material or your lawns, they keep it at that level of existence, basically due to
at the minimum amount necessary.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to be on it and fix it and have it up and running as soon as possible, because you don't have much time or a window to operate.
Right.
So we have the irrigation online, and along with that means the contractors that control the irrigation that or do the maintenance in our areas, in our medians, in our parks, they're required to do weekly irrigation inspections, so we don't lose water that way due to other broken heads or anything. And
Actually, we stopped watering the medians in the city of West Hollywood at
Yeah.
Governor Brown's.
Completely.
Yeah, we stopped it. All the medians in the streets are brown now because
Yeah.
we stopped watering
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, there
You
was a
wouldn't
mandatory cutback.
Think that it would be so high tech. It's crazy. That's really amazing that you're
Yeah.
able to sit there and look at your computer screens basically. And
Right, and you know, it's the best part is you get to know what you need to do.
Yes.
Perfect. And not lose the water.
that's right. Well, what about the residents? So, by how much our residents are supposed to cut back this year compared to last year? You know, you hear all kinds of different numbers. 10%, 20%. What is it? Where are we right now? What are the residents required to do?
On average, across the state, everybody's required to reduce by 25%. Different water providers are given different numbers based upon how much they've conserved in the past, but the state average is 25%. So keep that number in your head, because if you can cut back on 25% of your water usage, you're doing a good job.
That's hard to do, though.
Well, there's ways: low flush toilets, low flow shower heads, sweep. Don't water your hardscape. Don't wash the hardscape with your hose. Don't use your toilet for a garbage can. Watering, the restriction for irrigation of ornamental lawns. West of La Cienega approximately is Beverly Hills water. Their watering restrictions are for ornamental lawns on Mondays and Fridays, Mondays and Fridays north of Santa Monica Boulevard from 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. So you have to do it at night. You cannot do it at all during the day.
And only on those 2 days.
Only on those 2 days, correct.
Yeah.
And it's Monday and Friday north of Santa Monica Boulevard, and then Tuesday and Saturday south of Santa Monica Boulevard between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m.
Yeah.
East of Los Cienega, like I said, is Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. That's 3 days a week. Odd addresses ending in odd numbers can do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And even addresses ending in even number are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Okay, so it is confusing.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot
and
to
that's
think
from
about.
4 p.m. to 9 a.m. But the best thing to do, if you're not sure about what days you can water, is go to the website of your water provider.
Right.
It'll list it out. So if Beverly Hills Water, you can go to Beverly Hills, the city of Beverly Hills, and LADWP, you can go to the website, and it'll lay it out for you.
And what about businesses, like car washes, restaurants? Are they under the same kinds of restrictions? How do you make sure that they're not using too much water?
Well, car washes in California for a long time now. I'm not quite sure how long, but I've been with the city 21 years, and it's always been this way. It's recirculated water.
Yeah.
They have to. A commercial car wash has to reuse their water. So they have a filtration system that reuses the water, sucks it up, and uses it again to wash the car. So they don't use a lot of water. Businesses cannot hose the sidewalks off. They're also expected to reduce by 25%.
Yeah.
So we actually, as a code enforcement, we actually enforce that, and we make sure if businesses, we see them hosing down the sidewalks or things like that, we actually make them, either via citation or warning, we make them actually, sweep it.
But this drought has been going on for several years, and we've been cutting back year after year, and so to have to cut back another 25% seems like a lot to ask of people.
It is a lot to ask, but we have to do it.
Yeah.
We have to do it.
So what are the biggest water wasters? What would be the biggest water waster?
Ornamental lawns.
Yeah.
Ornamental lawns.
Yeah.
People, we all love our grass, but grass it takes a lot of water to upkeep, and so limiting. Oh, I forgot to mention too. Your sprinklers can only run for 8 minutes at a time, and that's in both Beverly Hills Water and Los Angeles DWP. But yeah, it's ornamental lawn watering. That is where the water goes, and so if you switch to drought-tolerant plants or hardscape of some sort, which you can go to bewaterwise.com. That's bewaterwise.com. They give you all sorts of tips and links to places that are information that can help you make a drought-tolerant garden for your yard instead of having grass.
So you mentioned you will go after businesses if they're caught hosing down the front. How do you go? Who are the drought busters? Who are the people that enforce this? It's your department, I'm assuming. And what are the fines? What kind of ticket do you get? What's the violation?
Well, we have 7 officers that work for the city of West Hollywood, and we cover day and nighttime. We really depend. If we see something happening when we're out in the field, we will actually write it up ourselves and we'll follow through. But we depend upon people, the citizens, to call us and let us know. If you see somebody that is wasting water and watering during the day, if you see watering during the day anywhere of ornamental lawns, give us a call. You can call the code compliance voicemail, which is 323-848-6516. call that, leave a message with the address where you've seen it, what time of the day it was, and we will follow through.
Well, and Scott, landscape is your expertise. Why do we not water during the day? I mean, pretty obvious question, right? It evaporates too quickly, or what's the point of that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't get that much bang for your buck
Yeah.
putting it down in the middle of the day.
Right.
You know, it does tend to evaporate quickly. You don't get the saturation you need, and really it's not beneficial for the lawn anyway, because of, you know, the in direct sunlight with water, and there are salts and minerals in the water that can burn certain plant material and even the lawns. You know,
Right.
But it's just wasteful
Sure.
altogether.
Sure. Well, Scott, now you mentioned you've put in these systems to make sure that if something breaks down, you're going to know immediately. What other things are you doing to make sure that the city is not a water hog and still looks good? You know, the medians you say are turning brown, but what do you do? How do you deal with that?
Well, the medians, basically a mandatory shutdown of the medians was something that, you know, in the professional landscape industry, we've always known that water usage is very important, and
Yeah.
with the city of West Hollywood, water usage is very important as well. So my thought was, when the mandatory shutdown of all irrigation to turf and medians came through, that was a pivotal point where I thought that would pretty much send out a message that this is pretty much this is a real thing.
You knew then,
and
but-
to constituencies, or
Yeah.
to, excuse me, constituencies, and to you know, other you know, entities
Yeah.
that, you know, hey, this is
This is
pretty
serious.
serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've shut down the irrigation on that, but also we've gone measures with the trees and the landscape that are in some of these areas. We've increased our mulching beds, which holds water, moisture in the soil better. It also keeps the soil temperatures down, which is beneficial
And
to
it looks
trees.
nice.
Because a lot of people, they always think it's just about plants and plants and lawn. You know, the trees are used to quite a bit of water too.
Yeah.
So we got to keep that in mind, and you know, with the mulching techniques, and also we've been lucky that we can still water during our restrictions for the planters. So we've increased our mulch beds in there, which will actually help us achieve more of a water savings and you know, keep to that.
You
all
wouldn't
the
think about
restrictions.
the mulching being so important, but if it does keep the soil moist and keeps the water in, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, Scott and I are both in the Department of Public Works for the City of West Hollywood, and I know that we're discussing presently different ways to do the medians so they're not brown, ugly grass. We're, of course, as West Hollywood, we're the creative city, so we're going to come up with a landscaping plan that is drought tolerant. It's just that's in the works at the moment.
Well, I know West Hollywood loves to show off art too, so you get a lot of wonderful art in the medians that, you know, you don't even think about plants. You just are taking a look at the art, the guitars that were there, and sculptures, and that's a nice replacement for trees, and they don't require water.
Exactly.
So do residents come to you and say, okay, what am I supposed to do? My grass is dead. Do I just pour concrete? What do I do then? How do I deal with this?
We currently have what's called a parkway guideline. It helps with the parkway as a part of the sidewalk that's out by the street edge that can be landscaped or whatever. That's the parkway guideline, which has a lot of drought tolerant guidelines in it that can be used for your actual yard area. If you're in Beverly Hills water, if you're provided by Beverly Hills Water, I know that the city of Beverly Hills is actually providing a service for 2-hour consultation via landscape architect to help you become drought tolerant. I know LADWP has some incentives, but again, go to bewaterwise.com. That would really get you in the right direction to help you become drought tolerant.
And it covers every area. Bewaterwise.com is just a broad site that helps you with all kinds of tips and information.
It's a jackpot of information about the drought, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And we talked, these cities, some of them, Beverly Hills and LADWP, they offer some incentives to making changes. I know each one is different, but again, you go to the website and you'll find out. If I want to take my lawn out and put in drought-tolerant plants, I might get a kickback, right?
The Southern California Water Board is actually where the incentives are coming from.
Yeah.
And that covers Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, Los Angeles County, and Long Beach and the whole bit. It's the Southern California Water Board.
Yeah.
So
So I asked, if someone is caught, What's the fine?
What's the fine? Okay, if you are irrigating your lawns when you're not supposed to be, the first fine is $250.
Ooh.
The second is $450. And the third is $850, and that's in a 12-month period. If we catch you the fourth time in a 12-month period, it's actually criminal charges.
Wow.
And we really want to avoid that as a city. I know that each water provider, too, actually has people that are out enforcing, and they can tack on fines to your bill.
So do you, you get it in your, I was going to say, how would you know? Do you get something in the mail that says, guess what, you broke the rule?
I believe that's how they're working it,
Yeah.
but from the city's angle, my enforcement officers are out there, and they'll be the ones that would be issuing the citation.
So you would knock on a door if somebody's watering and say, hey, you need to turn that off. You would actually just send them a ticket.
We may do both.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends upon how bad it is. You know,
Yeah.
if we see them watering during the day, probably sending them warning first, saying,
Yeah.
look, we're in a drought,
Yeah.
stop this, this is the guidelines.
Right.
If they do it again, if we catch it, it would be a first citation of $250 and so forth.
Sure. So Scott, have you seen a lot of the plant life just dying in West Hollywood, or because you're paying attention to it and making sure it gets just enough to survive that it's still surviving?
I believe it's still surviving. You know, it's obviously it's not going to look like what it did before.
Yeah.
But we, like I said before, I believe City of West Hollywood being as proactive as we have been.
Yeah.
It hasn't been just an automatic slam down of no water. We saw this coming. Even before the mandatory 25% and all that, we had already cut the medians back by 25%, even I think even a little more than that, and you know, found a happy medium there and had them prior to the mandatory shutdown.
Right.
We had them at a you know, a viable level. But yeah, I think all our plant material is hanging in there. You know, it's difficult to manage the water and water lawns and water plant material, especially when you have as many special events as we do have here.
Well, and the city
where the
loves
water
its-
just has to be off.
Yes, the city
you know?
loves its
And
parks.
It's
What do
and
you
it's-
do with all that big grass area?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's also a chore to
Tricky.
And I don't think people also understand that, you know, when you have large acreage to water and you have a certain water window, which is a time period, and you only have certain days a week, and you have clocks, you have multiple clocks that, or multiple controllers that irrigate, you know, up to 40 stations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a fine line there, and that's where the smart controllers come in, and they really help out, and they water at a good level. But
Sure.
but everything's hanging in there. And like Jeff said, we are being proactive with the medians. We're looking into other enhancements to increase either the drought tolerant plant material or to increase planter beds as to where the lawns aren't there, and then every chance we get to either improve a site, or if some plants are failing, or we're in there getting them out, and we can replace them with California native and even the drought tolerant species.
Yeah. So you mentioned maybe a year's worth of water left. So will there come a time in 6 months, if we don't get a good heavy rainfall this fall and winter, that there will be no water? Obviously, if we're running out of water, you won't be able to use it for anything. You'll be lucky to have it to drink.
Yeah, I could actually see Governor Brown enacting a ban on irrigation of all plants. Period.
Yeah.
I will mention that our mayor and our Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor Lindsay Horvath, and our Mayor Pro Tem, Lauren Meister, our city council in general takes the drought very seriously. But our Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem brought forth some items that I forgot to mention. It's very important. If when we do get a measurable rainfall, you're not allowed to water your ornamental lawns for 48 hours after that measurable rainfall.
Yeah.
And when we say measurable, we mean if you could look at it as 30 seconds of an inch, you cannot water for 48 hours. In addition, our hotels are required to, most hotels do it, but they're not required to offer not having your linens and your towels laundered on a nightly basis. So they're required to offer that with some sort of public information in the room.
Right, and I'm sure that helps a lot.
Yes.
When people do that, for sure. Well, Jeff Aubel, Scott Smith, I want to thank you both for joining me here today. It's really a serious problem, and it's kind of scary that we pray for rain, but it's out of our hands. All right. Well, thanks again, and we know that the city residents are going to be kind of looking at you guys to tell us what we can and can't do.
Yes, and we're here for them. If you can call the Department of Public Works at 323-848-6375 if you have questions, or you can file a complaint for somebody that's a water waster at 323-848-6516. That's the code compliance voicemail.
And they're all on the website.
They're all on the City of West Hollywood's website,
Absolutely.
also at www.weho.org.
Okay, and it would be under...
Water conservation right in the front page.
Perfect. Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And that is trending for today. If you have a comment, or if you'd like more information, or if you have an idea for a trending topic, just leave us a message at WehoTV or on Facebook or on Twitter. You can also email us. Just remember to put #trending in the subject line, and we'll get right back to you. I'm Tracy Savage, and as the city's Water Public Service Campaign says, don't forget to practice abstinence.